Finding love has never been easier and never been harder. We have more dating apps, more choices, and more ways to meet people than any generation before us. Yet so many people still end up exhausted, discouraged, and wondering if they're ever going to find their person. After enough disappointing dates and almost relationships, you don't just start questioning dating, you start questioning yourself. Have you ever opened a dating app and felt completely overwhelmed? Hundreds of faces, endless conversations, people who disappear without any explanation. Dates that seem promising until they suddenly aren't. Catfishing. Maybe you've met someone who looked so perfect on paper and maybe great career, attractive, funny, successful, emotionally expressive, and still something just didn't work. Or maybe you've gone on date after date wondering, why does this keep happening to me? Why is it so hard to meet someone who's emotionally available and mature? Why does everyone seem afraid of commitment? Is it just me? I hear these questions all the time, but here's what I want you to know. You're not imagining it. Dating really has changed, but maybe not in the way you think. Most people believe that dating is harder, much harder than before because there aren't enough good people. But I don't believe that is the biggest problem at all. I think we've become incredibly good at finding people, but not nearly as good at building relationships. And those two are completely different skills. So that's what I want to talk about today in this conversation. Because once you understand what's actually making dating feel so difficult, you can stop dating harder and start dating healthier. If we haven't met before, I'm Jenn Pinkerton, and I'm a psychotherapist and connection expert. And today we're going to talk about why dating feels so hard, harder than ever, and what I believe is really happening beneath the surface, and 3 shifts that you can completely change the way you approach finding healthy, lasting love. So shift 1, stop looking for the perfect person. Start looking for the right partner. One of the biggest shifts I've seen in modern dating is that we've confused having more options with making better choices. We tell ourselves maybe someone better is just one swipe away or the next date away, or maybe I shouldn't settle for this person. Maybe I can find someone who's just a little funnier, maybe a little more attractive or a little more successful. But before we know it, we're actually evaluating people the way we shop online. Always comparing, always wondering if there's something better. The problem is that healthy relationships aren't built by finding someone who checks every single box. They're built by finding someone who shares your values, your willingness to grow, and your capacity to build emotional safety together. One of the most freeing realizations in dating is understanding that compatibility isn't about perfection. It's actually about partnership. And that is a different way of choosing someone. If you're listening to this and you're wondering whether you're attracting healthy people and healthy relationships, or whether you're unknowingly repeating this same unhealthy patterns, I created something that might help you. It's called the Pinkerton Relational Health Index, or the PRHI. This free assessment helps you better understand how you're showing up, what your own relational health looks like, your communication style and skills, your emotional safety or lack thereof, your attachment tendencies, conflict patterns, boundaries, intimacy, and the habits that you bring into every relationship. Because at healthier relationships, they don't begin with finding the perfect partner. They actually begin with becoming a healthier relational partner. So the link is in the description below. Shift 2, stop looking for reasons to leave. Start looking for reasons to understand. One of the things I think has quietly changed about modern dating is that we have become incredibly good at evaluating. We evaluate text. We evaluate chemistry. We evaluate attraction. We evaluate careers. We evaluate family backgrounds. We are evaluating everything. And whether someone said exactly the right thing on the third date, we're overanalyzing and we're constantly asking, is this the right person? But very few people stop to ask, am I giving this relationship enough space to actually become something? Now, let me be clear. I am not telling you to ignore red flags. Absolutely not. If someone is emotionally unsafe, if they're manipulative, controlling, dishonest, unable to take accountability, please don't explain those things away. Those are valid red flags. But I'm talking about something much more subtle. We become so afraid of choosing the wrong person that sometimes we never give the right person enough time to become known. So one awkward date, one disagreement, one thing that feels different than we had expected, and we immediately start wondering if we should move on to the next person. One of my favorite questions to ask people is, are you dating to discover who someone is? Or are you actually dating to decide as quickly as possible why they aren't your person? And those are two different ideas, two different things, and really a whole different approach. Because healthy relationships aren't going to be built in one conversation. They're built through this consistency. They're built by watching how somebody interacts, how they handle disappointment, how they handle stress, how they handle anger, how they communicate. Do they repair or not? How do they treat other people in their life? How do they respond when life isn't going to go their way? Because it's not going to go their way all the time. And we can't learn those things over a dinner. That is going to take time. So one of the greatest relationship mistakes that people make is confusing immediate certainty with this long-term compatibility. They believe if this is the one, they should know almost immediately. But that is not usually how healthy love develops. Healthy love often grows through repeated experiences, repeated data of trust, of emotional safety, of consistency, of seeing someone's character over time. And one of the healthiest things you can do while dating is to slow yourself down. Not because you lower your standards, but because you stop expecting instant certainty. Curiosity is a much healthier dating strategy than constant evaluation. So instead of asking, are they perfect? Start asking, who are they becoming? Who am I becoming when I'm with them? Do I like the way that we handle disappointment together? Do I feel emotionally safe enough to truly be myself and be authentic and honest? And those questions are going to tell you far more about your future or possible future than whether or not you've had butterflies on date 2. Because if you've heard me talk about this, butterflies aren't a relationship. Sometimes they're actually a sign of danger. Character is, though. Emotional maturity is. Consistency is. And those things can only be discovered with time. That's why I believe one of the healthiest shifts you can make is this. Date to discover someone's character, not just to evaluate their chemistry. Because chemistry might start a relationship, but character is what will sustain one. Shift 3. Healthy people don't just find healthy relationships. They actually help create them. So I think this is a really big myth out there about dating, is that there's this perfect person who's going to finally make everything easy. But the truth is, healthy relationships aren't found. They're built. They're built together by two people where they meet, they're imperfect, and they have different histories and different attachment wounds and styles, different fears and insecurities, different communication ways. But together, they create the relationship. They work together. And that's why I want you to stop thinking about dating as finding the one, and instead start thinking about becoming the one, becoming someone who consistently creates healthy relationships. And one of the questions I ask people in this whole conversation is, if the healthiest person you've ever met started dating you tomorrow, what kind of relationship would they experience? I mean, do you even know that answer? Would they experience someone who communicates honestly? Would they find someone who takes accountability? Are you being someone who knows how to repair? Are you being someone who can regulate their emotions? Someone who creates emotional safety, or would they experience someone who's still expecting yet another person to fix wounds they haven't yet addressed? And that's not a question that is meant to create shame here. It's meant to create an awareness, because awareness gives you something incredibly valuable: choice. And one of the reasons I think dating feels so discouraging today is because we've put almost all of our energy into finding someone else, evaluating someone else, and very little energy into becoming the kind of partner we're actually hoping to find. So think about that. Most people have a list of everything they want: kind, funny, successful, emotionally available, emotionally mature, good communicator, great sex, family-oriented, growth-minded. But very few people have a list of the qualities they're intentionally and actively developing in themselves. And healthy dating starts there. Not because you have to become perfect before you deserve love. Of course, you absolutely don't. None of us are perfect. None of us arrive fully healed. We heal together with actually other people in emotionally safe relationships. We all continue growing inside relationships. But there's a huge difference between entering a relationship saying, I hope you heal me, and entering a relationship actually saying, I'm committed to growing and I want to grow with you together. That's the posture of someone who's really ready for healthy love. And I think that's why I spend so much time talking about relational health, because relationships don't rise to the level of chemistry. They rise to the level of the relational health that both people bring into them. So if two emotionally healthy people meet, then they still have conflict. They still are going to disappoint each other. They are going to fight. They still misunderstand each other. But they also repair. They also stay curious. They communicate effectively. They grow. And that's why healthy love isn't about finding someone who never hurts you. It's actually not possible. It's about finding someone who's willing to keep building with you when they do, and becoming someone who's willing to do the same. If today's conversation made you realize that you've been spending more time evaluating, more time searching for healthy love than preparing yourself to build it, I would love to help you. And that's exactly why I created my Relationship Blueprint Intensive. So whether you're single or dating or engaged or been married for a long time, this program is designed to help you strengthen your own relational health, your own blueprint, so you can communicate better, create emotional safety, understand your attachment wounds and your patterns, navigate conflict, build great intimacy, and develop the skills that healthy relationships require. Because the goal isn't just finding the right person. It's becoming the kind of person who knows how to build a healthy relationship when they actually do. So you can learn more about that at jennpinkerton.com. The healthiest relationships aren't created because two lucky people finally found each other. It's actually created because two people keep choosing curiosity over certainty, growth over ego, connection over protection, day after day. So maybe the question isn't, where is the right person? The better question is, if I met them tomorrow, would I be ready to build the relationship that I have been praying for? Have I done the work? Because healthy love doesn't begin the day you meet the right person. It begins the day you become ready to build something healthy with someone else. So if you've ever laid awake replaying a conversation, maybe analyzed a text message 10 different ways, or convinced yourself that something was wrong, and this was maybe before you had any evidence or data, then you are not going to want to miss the next video below, because we're going to talk about why overthinking can quietly ruin like so many relationships and what you can do to stop it. Because overthinking doesn't protect your relationship. It often protects your own fears. And so learning the difference might completely change the way that you love. So I'll see you there. Best and rest.